Vivek Desai. He was a founder and MD. He is founder and MD of Hosmec India Private Limited. He holds MBBS and MPhil. He has advised more than 600 hospital projects. He has worked as an advisor to numerous multilateral agencies like World Bank, UNICEF, WHO, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, etc. He has served as chairman for CII's Healthcare Subcommittee for Western Region and as co-chair for NATH Health for Western Zone. He was selected as Leader for Tomorrow by ET Now Business News Channel in the Healthcare and Biotechnology category.
Thank you, Dr. Mavlankar, and it was quite a pleasure to hear both Dr. Abhijat Sheth and Dr. Bharat Gadhvi speak. I like the way he ended, that eat healthy, eat good breakfast and sleep adequate. I think I've done that after ages. Thank you, Dr. Gadhvi. So I am going to be speaking more on hospital planning, designing aspects. So a little bit on a different note than the other speakers. So I am a medical doctor myself, but I'm going to talk more about how this is going to impact healthcare, how it is currently impacting, and in future what can we expect to change. So can you change the slide, please? So pre-COVID, what we had in terms of healthcare was a very technology-driven healthcare system, and dominated by the private sector, mostly, almost all over the world, except maybe NHS in England. And it was more urban-centric, and even in semi-urban areas or tier 2, tier 3 towns, we had, such private hospitals. The problem was the asset quality probably was not that good, and which has come to fore as COVID has hit us, because hospitals in these smaller towns were very crowded kind of phenomena where we need social distancing and as a bigger distance between the two. Having said that, and if you look at what happened in Dr. Abhijat spoke about, the Spanish flu, if you would see some photographs, you would see there was those Florence Nightingale type of wards, which were in use at that time, and that is precisely what we are now going to create in most of these 1,000 beds and 500 bed facilities which are coming up as a transient COVID hospital. So time has taken us back. Technology is aside, and we are back to basics. During COVID, now what we have seen is we are going to need mass diagnosis. Probably the number of cases which India saw in the beginning were lower because we were not testing enough. The moment we started to test more from one testing facility, now we have more than 250 odd, testing facilities available. We are seeing the numbers galloping. So this is something which we were not prepared for. Certainly, we have now realized that we need to do something like that. In terms of treatment, I can see some of the questions, which have been logged on, that people are not able to get, admissions, not into emergencies, in critical care units. I have myself tried in Mumbai. I'm not able to get patients into, private hospitals. At least, government hospitals never known to have that kind of number of critical care beds. Normally, as a good system, we should have about 25%, or in some cases, if you are a super specialty hospital, even 30% beds into intensive care. But what government currently has is hardly about 5% or 10% of their beds in critical care, and that is where the patient is landing up, right? Private sector almost rendered ineffective because they were not allowed, to open up for patients in the beginning, and when they were graded and allowed, many of them started to close down because of infections within the staff, within the doctors. So that was another major problem that the government has at its hand. Many of these hospitals are now getting taken over by government, where they are probably going to admit for critical care, because at least private hospitals are able to treat critical care as compared to, the public sector. For never before one had used a PPE equipment, and we are suddenly now everything is around PPE. So we were not even manufacturing one PPE, as Prime Minister said before, and now suddenly we are, not only manufacturing numbers but are also using it day in and day out. We need to understand how to use it, where to use it, how many times can you change, And importantly, also how do we dispose, because we're not trained to do those kinds of things. In fact, I mean, our firm Hosmag is going to partner with an NGO called Generation, which is a McKinsey, arm of not-for-profit kind of entity, and we're going to come up with a capsule of how to train people. This training is going to be one of the most important cornerstone of fighting COVID, not only in public hospitals, but also in private hospital and NGO based, hospitals which are there. We've seen that there's a lack of basic level technology. We've suddenly in a hospital, we need oxygen like never before. We need blood like never before. We need ventilators like never before. But unfortunately, to run a ventilator, you also need skilled technician. We need a respiratory technician. We need doctors who can manage these ventilators. And I'm afraid to say that I've been an intensivist, in my early career, and I can say with confidence that it is not available currently, the skill. So we need to ramp that up pretty much fast. Of course, efforts are on. All India Institute of Medical Sciences has done a lot. There are many other organizations, which are doing it. But this is something that we will need, because we have not yet reached the peak. Our peak probably will come in around June, July. Is what the government is preparing itself for. And for post-COVID, we will need to prepare for a similar pandemic, because I don't see that this is going to end in a year or two. This we will probably land up with something, different kind of a pandemic. So we will need to have our healthcare systems and hospitals flexible enough, to take on this kind of pandemic load which is coming in. Next. So I would say that you have three types of facilities as of now. Can you three types of facility? The first one being the quarantine facilities, which is a very basic infrastructure, but we will need this in large numbers in cities like Delhi, Bombay, even maybe Ahmedabad, for example, where numbers are rising. This is just basic infrastructure. You will have beds, toilets, food and hygiene. If you can take care of that, and that is what mostly people have started off with, converting schools, hotels, creating exhibition halls, getting converted into this quarantine, which is a suspect patient. The next is the isolation wards, which are for positive cases, which is already identified as a positive case, and which can be clubbed together if so required, if numbers increase. Ideally no, but if we don't have that kind of infrastructure, India doesn't, so we will need to club. But these halls or rooms will need to have negative pressure air, so that we do not allow the air to get out. Okay, so this has to be a negative pressured kind of room, which we will have, and it will have a reverse filtration. So the filtered air is towards the exhaust, so that we filter the virus before it gets out. So this is a different kind of a system that we will need to learn with, and there are many agencies which are doing this. But this will need oxygen, suction, basic lab, an X-ray, because this is lung disease, and with toilets, food and garbage disposal system. The third level of facility is the key, which we don't have in India, which is the critical care, where apart from oxygen suction, we need ventilatory support, like I said. We need a stat laboratory to take, oxygen levels, ABG analysis, electrolytes and all of that. We need mobile X-rays with a good, digital capability. We need monitoring systems, staff facilities and gowning areas, because these staff is not, people are not moving out of these hospitals, they are better off staying closer to the hospital, or best if you can make them stay within the hospital if your rooms are not getting occupied. Disposal system for PPE, I mean, there needs to be a coordinated effort, because the number of PPE that you change in a day may go up to 4, in good hospitals. So need to dispose and how to do that. Housing provision wherever possible for staff, I've already said that. And then you would need a bronchoscopy and a procedure room as well. Can we go to the next slide, please? Post-COVID, what will you see as an infrastructure change? We would need, spacious waiting areas, which we were generally not have, especially in the smaller hospitals, because social distancing has become a norm. Even a sabjiwala now, has this kind of a social distancing norm. So you will need, those kind of things. Wards, probably you'll have to skip one bed and then, admit a patient. So overall your increase in area per bed, which will also probably increase the capital expenditure for hospitals, in future. We will need a structural grid. Grid means, the location of columns that you can see. So the structural grid will need to be flexible enough that a room can be converted into an ICU, into a ward, into an operation theater, into an MRI room. So generally speaking, one should go with a 8 meter by 8 meter grid. Grid means something. Can you just go to the next slide so I can just show them the grid?
Slide change karo, yaar na kaya kare.
So if you see, this is the structural grid that you can see. So grid is, in between those four columns, being the 8 or 9 meter grid. It will help you in future when you are able to convert, departments and halls into isolation rooms. Can you go back to the slide, please? Yeah. Then pre-engineered buildings, and with systems like dry walls, convertible air conditioning systems, because we need to convert it into negative pretty quickly, negative pressure. We need seamless flooring, so maybe, vinyl floorings or epoxy, a better, kind of a material to be used. This will also be ease of construction, faster, environment friendly, and it is also ease of remodeling, whenever you want to do. So please try and see if you can go with dry walling system. Emphasis will be very strong on indoor air quality because it's a droplet, led infection, and it can go through an air conditioning system. So you need to be very careful, So I remember in Severance Hospital in Bombay, where we were helping them to convert it into a COVID hospital, this became a point of contention. And then we were able to get about, 50, 60 negative pressure isolation rooms very quickly. There will be technology emphasis on no touch or a low touch, so you are now started to get doors which you can operate with foot, so as much as less hand usage as possible, partition consulting rooms, robot delivered hospitality, like your food and everything would come probably loaded, with a robotic, with a robo will deliver you. Pneumatic chutes will become extremely popular because there is no touch here, you just put in and it reaches, wherever it has to. Hands-free wash basins, urinals, toilets, all of that. Even the toilet seats probably will become, like that happen in Japan, Korea. All walls and all surfaces will need to be of a material which you can sanitize, that needs to be taken care of. Doors, floors, everything. Low use of curtains, so this will have to be of washable in nature, so we would need a complete change in terms how you use your tapestry. The sofas will probably go out and resin based systems will probably come in. Oxygen supply ability to almost all nook and corners, including your parking lots, your dining halls, all of these are getting converted now into COVID beds. So you will need a system whereby you are able to supply oxygen. So at least your plant sizing will have to be like that, and then you can probably do the piping and other things later. There will be large use of mobile hospital modules, where you can shift these modules to areas where you need them. So Indian Railways done excellent job, preparing about 20,000 to begin with in terms of railway carriages where you can reach out, to people rather than people coming, to the hospital. Indian Army has also come up with modules of hospitals, which can be put up very quickly in a tented format. I think Zydus Hospital in Ahmedabad also did a very smart thing of using porta cabins and keeping the patient outside. You could also try doing consultations using porta cabins and not get the patient in at all. That is also, something which some hospitals are doing now. Different building blocks. So if a hospital has different wings, it becomes that much more easier for hospitals to convert into COVID and non-COVID kind of a scenario. Next slide, please. Next slide. So this I have already shown in terms of the grid. Now look at this private room. This is an isolation room where you have a vestibule, you have a toilet, and then you have a patient room. So these kinds of rooms, you can very easily convert into a negative pressure. So this is very good for private hospitals. Government probably might find this difficult. They may go for big halls, But for private hospitals or medium-sized hospitals, this is the room with a vestibule, which is what we will probably need, where you can gown, change, because there is a toilet also. Next.
Dr. Vivek, can you finish in 2 minutes?
Yes, sir. I will.
Yeah,
Next.
thank you. And just speak little loudly because some of the people are commenting your voice is not clear on their line.
I had tested it, but
Yeah.
Okay, so now these are kind of ICU beds, where you have nurses sitting outside, so that is something which will come in vogue now. Next slide. This is a complete ICU unit with all the support services. Next slide. Air conditioning, so there are various these parameters which one will have to think of. Central versus window, window, probably a lot of people are now preferring to use windows, but central AC is better off in terms of capital cost, provided there are mechanisms, to distribute air as positive and negative, then relative humidity, all of that, filtration. Next slide. Pneumatic tubes I've already mentioned. Next. Post-COVID, what will be some strategic changes? I think the emphasis will shift from having sufficient health in public health system, whereas the government earlier was taking through Ayushman Bharat a payer kind of a role. Probably they will need to become a bit of provider also, or that they can do it through a transient mechanism through the Pandemic Act, where they can take over certain hospitals. Regional disparity is very, very visible now. This will have to be removed. We will need more public sector funding, for healthcare infrastructure. Training of paramedics will go up many folds, because we are suddenly finding our people are not geared up to face this challenge. There will be extremely high Make in India emphasis, because import dependence, is not good, and we have shown that we can do it by creating those PPEs at record time, and also diagnostic kits. There will be extreme increase in telemedicine and home healthcare. One can see that happening already, where hospitals are gearing up, for this kind of thing, and this is there to stay. At least for the next 1 year or 18 months, I don't see this, going. Even critical care probably will be delivered at your doorstep. So these are some of the strategic changes that I can see. I think I am done. Next. Yeah. Thank you.